You're working, like in the case where you're working, how can you preach as well?
She's working, how can she preach while she's working?
Working.
Working.
Always think, for whom I am working. For whom? I am toiling hard like an ass. For whom? Only work for Krishna. Yes. I am working for Krishna, working for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. Yes.
Is that preaching? That's preaching.
By you are engaged in loving service to Guru and Gauranga, that will get strength, then you can preach. Who is their co-worker or something, you may preach to them. Yes.
Srila Prabhupada, you would say that if we use the material energy in Krishna's service, that it becomes spiritual.
Yes.
But yesterday you were saying, you gave the example of if the devotee goes on the airplane, then it doesn't really become spiritual because everyone is doing simple activities here. So how can we more precisely understand really what Srila Prabhupada meant when he said the material energy, like a microphone, he would say, becomes spiritual when it's used in Krishna's service?
Whatever available, we utilize everything in Krishna's service. That is practice. Yes. If everybody will utilize, then it becomes spiritual. Comes into spiritual plane and not material aeroplane. All are inside, engaged in chanting, thinking of Krishna only. Why that thing is weaker?
So is it that the object, it becomes spiritual in the consciousness of the individual person, according to his consciousness?
But that plane is not engaged in Krishna's service. Only one sadhu is there. All of demons, they are engaging in their own way.
For example, this camera here is being used just to film your divine grace. So then, is it that the camera is spiritualized, or
If camera is constantly engaged, a piece of iron constantly put into the fire, then it turns red hot. No more iron. You touch it, it burn it. You know, constantly engaged. Understand? Logician, great logician. Logician.
I have a bigger nota in this direction?
That example always you remember, piece of iron, constantly in the fire, then it becomes red hot. Not for some time fire, then you take it out, it is not. The copper wire, constantly electricity is passing, then it is electrified. It is not copper wire. Does it? Circuit. Is it constantly like that? Then how it is? For some time.
Somebody may say, so I'm using this tape player constantly in Krishna service. So this is spiritual, so it can, because it's spiritual, it can take spiritual sound vibration. This they will say. Somebody may say, with regards to Shabda Brahma, that this tape recorder is constantly used in the service of Krishna, not used for any mundane thing, only used for Prabhupada's tapes. So,
Auto-reverse.
Auto-reverse. So, in this way, it can take sound vibrations, transcendental sound vibration, and emits transcendental sound vibration, because it's spiritualized, it's in the fire. How will we...
Shabda Brahma is emanating.
If it is constantly this passes through it, nothing or no other thing passes, then it will not constantly passing. No breakage there, no stop there.
No, the question is good there. No, it's sound.
No, you remember the passing of electricity through the wire. That's the example. Constantly passing, then it may be electrified like this. Electric energy constantly passing, then it's electrified.
But when there's breakage, it loses the properties.
It loses the material.
So I was in Ballabhaja Prabhu's temple, and they have a tape player going a Prabhupada 24 hours a day, every day, no breakage. So this is Shabda Brahma coming at Balabhadra Prabhu, you know, from Scotland in his temple. He has tape of Prabhupada going 24 hours a day. Prabhupada singing, just constantly, no breakage.
No breakage.
So
That is all right. Constantly passing, transcendental sound. Yes.
then, that sound coming through tape recorder of the Shrapopa, is that
But you see, this is the person who has 4 defects has prepared it. If he has defects, it is not perfect. Huh? It is perfect.
No.
He has prepared, manufactured, he has 4 defects. So whatever he does is all imperfect. It is not perfect. Huh? He does. So how you do consent? Cannot.
break?
Doesn't
Sudha Gurudev said Bhuvneshwar that hearing from the tape, the sound from the tape recorder, is not the same sound coming.
You see, Prabhupada came to Western world, went to America, went to that park, to that square. He sang Hare Krishna, got taught. So many hippies rolling there, with intoxicated, very strong drugs, huh? Up-naked boys, girls, huh? As soon as this transmission, what's that? Wake up. Come. All right, now, go there, put a tape recorder, microphone, Prabhupada voicing. We'll see if they will wake up and come. Then I understand, yes, you really this is test. All right, do it now. All right? Logician.
I'm following He's training me. You think I'm training him, but he's training me.
All right, this is test. Huh? You follow me? A snake, cobra. You understand? Snake charmer. When snake charmer sings, the cobra comes out from the hole and
Shows his fangs.
plays, hears Krishna Guna. When he stops, then he says, pow! Understand? This is attraction. Krishna is attracted, the cobra is attracted. You are like serpents, cobras. Real concentration wise, you are attracted, yes. Now you play it, if cobra will come up. So, you are great logicians. So supposed to be.